What is going on, everyone? And in this video, I'll be giving you my UFC 298 main card predictions for the upcoming event taking place this Saturday, February 17th, 2024. Definitely a banger of a main card. Volkanovski will be taking on Topuria in the main event for the featherweight championship. Co-main event, Whittaker versus Costa. Geoff Neal versus Machado, Garry. Dvalishvili versus Cejudo. Maybe the weaker one on the main card. And then Hernandez versus Kopylov. I think it's a banger of a main card, and we get the first one out of the next two pay-per-views that are going to be bangers, UFC 299 and then UFC 300, obviously. So really looking forward to this. These are the ones where you look forward to it. You know, you have the names on there, you have the fights, and then they turn out to be bangers, and it works well for everyone. Now, coming off of a 7-6 and 1-0 contest, not the best, but it's not the worst, right? I've definitely never, I don't think, gone 1 in like 12 or something. Actually, I think I've gone 1 in 12, but not frequently. And most of the time it's like 6 and 5, something like that. See what we can do here. A lot of these ones are hard to pick though, because you think you know the fighters because they're more popular and you do a lot more tape study, and then come to find out you know nothing. So we'll see if this one ends up being worse, but let's go ahead and jump right into the first fight. In the first fight on the main card, we have Anthony Hernandez, 11-2, taking on Roman Kopylov, 12-2, in a middleweight bout. Very close records, and I think it's going to be an entertaining fight to start off the main card. Now, when you look at someone like Anthony Hernandez, good wrestling. He looks for the submissions when he starts grappling, so when he takes you down. Now, he doesn't have a lot of like dominant control time, so he's not necessarily keeping guys on the floor, but he is able to consistently get these takedowns, which he has the cardio to do so, which can be very grindy, right? When you have someone just constantly trying to take you down. And when they do take you down and they're able to land some shots or try to put you in a submission, it just could take that energy out of you. He has good long combinations, but he likes to fight in close. He has good speed in close. Like I said, great cardio to endure and then finish someone late. He can make it an ugly fight. He definitely has eased some pretty big shots when he starts brawling in close. He has a solid chin, though. He needs to make this fight ugly, in my opinion, and try to get it to the third round by utilizing his wrestling, grinding it out, shutting off the kicking game of Kopylov, smothering him, making it ugly. That's how I think he might be able to win this fight. Now, for someone like Roman Kopylov, he's coming in great combinations. I would say he's probably a little bit more tactical than Hernandez. Good counters as well, and I think there's going to be opportunities to counter Hernandez. Solid takedown defense, so we'll see how that plays out if Kopylov, even if he does get taken down, I think he'll be able to get back up. I don't think he's going to get stuck on the floor. Very nasty leg kicks for Kopylov, right? He's going to slam in these leg kicks. He also has power in his punches and good speed. I feel like maybe if you look at him, you're like, oh, what is this guy going to do? But he definitely packs a really good punch and some good power. And when he's chopping away at his opponents, like, he knows what he's doing. We saw that in his last fight against Josh Frem, where he ends up taking him out, but just hurting him really bad to the body. He also keeps his composure. Kopylov, he's not one of these guys who's just going to run in and start brawling with you. Like, no, he's going to try to fight technical. And if he hurts his opponent, he's going to try to pick the shots to put him away. Now, the only thing I would say is Kopylov just needs to be a little careful exerting too much energy early on. Maybe that's just from defending the takedowns, or, you know, maybe trying to go for a finish. Because Kopylov's got to realize that this is a guy that knows how to, I think, take people deep into that third round and find a way to win. So he can go these, Hernandez can definitely go 3 rounds and make it grindy, but I don't know. I think Hernandez might walk into a big shot here and it won't look like it, but it might put him down. Or maybe not knock him out, but, one of these TKO kind of things. Because Kopylov, man, like, I think he is pretty nasty, but he has to be careful. Very good fight for Kopylov to see if he can face this adversity. And then obviously for Hernandez, he's going to look to be kind of just continuing proving people wrong and adding another win to his 4-win streak. So, but for me, I'm going to go Roman Kopylov. I just feel like he's going to be able to counter Hernandez if Hernandez get a little sloppy on the feet, and then that's when we see Kopylov catch him with something. So I'm going to go Roman Kopylov to defeat Anthony Hernandez by round 2 KO TKO. In the second fight on the main card, we have Merab Dvalishvili, 16-4, taking on Henry Cejudo, 16-3, very close records, like the previous fight, in a bantamweight bout. So for Dvalishvili, I think he is not doing himself any favors by like going what, like 1 for 40. What was it? 111 for 49 takedowns, like spamming the takedowns against Peter Yan, and then even against Aldo, right? Didn't get any takedowns. Still wins the fight. Gets 0 out of 16 takedowns. Still wins the fight, but it was just a matter of like, what else do you have, right? It's just not entertaining. And arguably, depending on like, I know he won a unanimous decision, but man, some people thought Aldo just should have won the fight because he defended takedowns. And that's the other thing is, yes, that's not offense, but does it count that I completely didn't allow you to utilize your game plan? Who knows? Dvalishvili, he definitely has power. He does put up some, he's able to outstrike some of these guys, but winning unanimous decisions isn't going to get you anywhere. I guess it will eventually if he just never loses anymore, but he's going to run into someone in Henry Cejudo that I feel like is probably going to be one of his toughest tests. Not only just because Cejudo could possibly defend the majority or try to defend the majority of these takedowns, but because of the striking and the power of Cejudo. I think Cejudo definitely has some pretty good power and speed early on, some good darting in and out, and it's something that you don't want to overlook. Because if Cejudo's able to defend a couple takedowns, Dvalishvili might have to run into a situation where he's like, oh, well, now I'm going to have to strike with you. And again, winning a split decision isn't really going to get you anywhere, but that's besides the point. For Dvalishvili, you always look at like the spinning back fist on on that show, Dana White, or not the show, but on the before the UFC, and then he gets signed to the UFC, and it's like all this hype and stuff, and then he ends up losing his first two fights in the UFC, and then goes on the unanimous decision up until he takes out Marlon Moraes here, but that's not, unfortunately for Moraes, at that point people had to have beat him, right? That was just kind of the thing. So I don't know. What is it impressive that he's able to shut these guys down? Yes, but does it feel like he could now change his game to trying to get like a submission or go for the kill, ground and pound something? Yeah, man, I think he has to start doing that because this division, the bantamweight, and that's the other thing with the whole like Aljamain Sterling, and yeah, even if he deserves the title shot against Sean O'Malley or whoever it is, does anyone really want to see Merab Dvalishvili split decision? Take Sean O'Malley down 50 times. Like, I don't know. It's just he's gonna have to do some pretty good things here. And then you have Cejudo. Now, I was actually leaning towards Cejudo here just because I felt like, maybe his striking is power, maybe he has some good takedown defense, maybe he's able to get a takedown of his own, just giving Dvalishvili a brick wall finally to kind of make it competitive. But then like he's like, oh, if I don't win this fight, I'm retiring. And then the whole coach thing, like he's always playing these jokes and stuff like that. But I don't know. I don't have too much, like I feel like he's kind of on his way out, right? He's kind of just he's doing this to show up, hey, I'm still tough, because he put on a competitive fight against Aljamain Sterling. Like he really did. Split decision, so somebody thought he won the fight. But at the same time, he's talking about like, oh, if I lose this, I'm retiring, and the whole coach thing, and he seems a lot about the theatrics, the drama versus getting in there and winning. But he's a good fighter. Like Cejudo is definitely a good fighter. I just think Dvalishvili is gonna be able to just grind him out, man. Take him down, grind him out, do a little bit more, right? One of these, whatever, like maybe like 100 significant strikes to hit, something like that, where it's like barely a little bit, but then he wins a decision. I'll believe Dvalishvili is gonna finish anyone when I see it. Maybe he's able to catch Cejudo off guard, clips him big, puts him to sleep. But I'm looking for a decision. I think Dvalishvili just puts on this grind and takes over, man. I think just constantly being in your face and shutting you down. Like, so Hudo's gonna try to go for it early, but it's just not. I expect Dvalishvili to survive and just implement some sort of grindy style of fight. But we'll see what happens. Either way, may not be the most exciting fight on the card unless somebody ends up getting finished. But if it goes to decision, we're just going to see a lot of holding against the fence and takedowns and all that. But I think either guy, too, is going to be able to pop out. Like, Cejudo could probably get taken down, but he'll probably pop up unless he gets badly hurt or something. I don't know. But for me, I'll go like a pretty competitive fight. And I'll take Merab Dvalishvili to defeat Henry Cejudo by decision. In the third fight on the main card, we have Geoff Neal coming in with a 15-5 record, taking on Ian Machado Garry, 13-0 in a welterweight bout. Neal is not undefeated, and Garry is. So Neal knows what it's like to lose. I always say that just because I think it is important. Some of these guys think they're invincible, and so they walk into a big left hand or a right hand and get completely destroyed, right? And then once you have to face that adversity, you find out that maybe you weren't as tough as somebody else, right? So we'll see what happens here. Neal is coming off of a loss against Shavkat Rakhmonov. Very tough fight for him. Unfortunate fight for him. Just Rakhmonov was just a better fighter. Was able to get the submission victory. Really was able to just stand in there and go after him, be aggressive. Neal landed some good shots, like definitely wobbled him, which is impressive, but just not the volume that Rakhmonov had, right? And that's the biggest gripe about Geoff Neal, I think, is his ability to, like, I think the way he fought Vincente Luque was his best fight, right? When he fought Ponzinibbio, split decision win, very close. When he lost to Neil Magny, he ends up getting taken down twice, low volume. When he fought Stephen Thompson, he gets outstruck, doesn't put up the good volume. He beats Mike Perry, Nico Price. I guess a good win for him is his win against Bilal Muhammad, but I think Muhammad's improved since then. He can crack, right? I think Geoff Neal can definitely crack. It's not this is not one of those, like, he has a really good left hand. But my problem is if he fights someone that just has better striking, and he has good takedown defense, so I don't think Gary's gonna be able to take him down or anything. But I think the problem with Neal is against a striker who's going to be a little bit more technical, a little bit faster, not just fists, but like a lot of kicks, distance, in and out, speed, firing off combinations. He's going to end up kind of just trying to walk him down, but he'll eat a lot of leg kicks, or he'll get clipped in a lot of these exchanges, and he'll hang in there. He's a tough fighter. But I just feel like Garry, with all of what I just said, nasty leg kicks, fast head kicks, very good speed. His striking is very dangerous because of how quick he is. Sniper like with the strikes. He's not overextending from the distance. Like, he just finds ways to pop, and get in there. Now, he has been hurt, so he has to be careful. Like, Garry can't get a little crazy in close and start, let's brawl with him, right? The closer he is to Neal, the more Neal can clip him. And like I said, if he starts taunting too much, you never know what can happen. Garry has great distance control, and I think that's going to be the frustrating thing, is his ability to kind of snipe from the outside and get Neal to continuously walk in on him. So we'll have to see. Garry, whether or not you like his personality or whatever, is a very good fighter. Neal, for me, if he didn't have low volume in some of these fights where it just feels like he could have done more, like if he fights how he fought Luque, perfect, right? That they make it really competitive. But if he fights how he fought against Ponzinibbio, Neil Magny, Stephen Thompson, where it just doesn't feel like he's keeping up in the striking realm, I don't think he's gonna win. I just think Garry is a little bit more fast, a lot faster, a lot more combinations, a lot more looks. And that leg kick, man. I mean, right off the bat, when he ends up fighting Neil Magny, Garry just makes him he's on his ass, right? Because he kicks him in the perfect spot. So when you constantly have to worry about, oh, I'm going to get leg kicked. Oh, I don't want to get, just sniped. Oh, I gotta watch out for the head kick. Oh, the body kick. Like when you're constantly having to worry about, wait, this, that, you just kind of get a little bit overwhelmed and it kind of shuts you down. So Neal might be headhunting. And yeah, like I said, if he lands clean, he might be able to kill him. But if he doesn't land clean, he's gonna try to resort to these big, these big shots in close. And if Garry's not giving him the distance to do that because he's not in close, and he's firing away at the leg kick, and then your movement starts going out, or you fire to the body, or the head kick gets through, like it's just a lot, man, just a lot. So I'm gonna go. But I think, like I said, Neal is tough. I will be very surprised here if like Garry KOs him, just because I just feel like Neal's a tough fighter. So I'm gonna go Ian Machado Garry to defeat Geoff Neal. I'll take him to win by decision. In the co-main event, we have Robert Whittaker, 25-7, taking on Paulo Costa, 14-2, in the middleweight division. Robert Whittaker has pretty much only lost, at least in his past 10 fights, against current champion or former champions, Israel Adesanya and then Dricus du Plessis. I mean, outside of that, he lost in the beginning, but you know, been in the top level of this division ever since 2014, right? So, former champion, great all around technical fighter, really sets up those head kicks well. He has the cardio. He can even land a takedown if he needs to. I think he can handle himself in the takedown defense as well, in the grappling. Just an overall great fighter. Technical too, like I said, not someone that's going to go out there and start brawling or anything. Really tries to set things up well. Unfortunately, just ran into some just train, Adesanya, he lost to him twice. And then against Dricus du Plessis, he just gets really, I don't know. I felt like it was more of him just waiting too much for du Plessis to come in. And then when Plessis was able to hit him, he hits hard, man. And if you give him the opportunity to land clean, he landed clean. He landed a really good jab, put him down, and then finished the fight. So both of them had a takedown in that one. So I think he can hang with the grappling. Now, I don't think Paulo Costa is going to come out here and start taking him down. But the striking early on, I think the striking, just the overall brute force and aggression is probably going to go to Costa. We'll see if he's able to do anything with it. Can he land something big early on, hurt Whittaker badly, and then jump on him and finish him? Or do we see Costa attempt to do all that, fail, and then basically start to fade, as we saw like against someone like Luke Rockhold? He lost to Marvin Vettori. He obviously was finished by Adesanya. I think Costa, if he slows things down a little bit and tries to pick these shots, he could definitely hurt Whittaker and finish him. But the issue that I have is just as far as overall attack is concerned, I feel like Whittaker can definitely set up some things, get Costa to come in and leave himself a little exposed, and then Whittaker could head kick him. Just find ways to keep picking him apart. And if it goes into the third round or whatever, I think Whittaker is going to be the one that's lighting him up, whereas Costa is more of a kind of, he's trying to set up these big shots, and he's very athletic and very fast early on, but I just think early on is the biggest threat for Costa, and then after that it's pretty much Whittaker's fight. And I think a lot of people are looking at Whittaker and they're like, oh man, he got dropped by a jab. But again, man, he's only lost against former champions and then the current champion, so it's not like he's getting KO'd every fight. Like, he's definitely hurt a lot of people, right? I mean, he's fought top level competition, and he's hung in there against them. And we've seen him, like, even in this fight against Kelvin Gastelum, where he ends up putting up 4 takedowns and 150 significant strikes to 62. So he has the ability to outstrike people. And even in this fight against Adesanya, I mean, those are some close fights, man. I know unanimous decision, but like, it's not like he got crushed in that in that last one. I don't think he got destroyed. Now, obviously, in his first one he did, but even then, like, I think against better strikers, unfortunately, Whittaker is just not able to set them up as much as he needs to, but against a guy who's going to just come at him reckless or a little bit recklessly, or at least that's what I think he will do. I mean, if Costa slows it down, that's good for him. But still, I think Whittaker just has the more setups and the more strikes. So we'll see what happens. But for me, I'm taking a win late. I'm going to go Robert Whittaker to defeat Paulo Costa by round 3 KO TKO. In the main event of the evening, we have Alexander Volkanovski, the current champion, 26-3, and he'll be taking on Ilia Topuria, 14-0 in a featherweight title bout. So very good fight. I think it's probably going to be fight of the night. If it goes 5 rounds, very competitive. I don't really think either guy is going to dominate. Now, obviously, either one could probably clip the other, right, and then hurt them bad and finish them. I think Topuria is probably going to try to go out there and try to get him out of there. But still, very very good fight, I think, if it goes 5 rounds. So I'm hoping for like a really good 5 round battle that really goes back and forth. For Volkanovski, he's coming off a loss against Islam Makhachev. You hear the controversy. He was drinking every day, whatever, didn't really train, whatever. And he could be right. And he openly deals with a lot of mental health issues and stuff, and just the struggle of all that. So the previous fight before that, when he fought in his division, he just absolutely destroyed Yair Rodriguez. And that's kind of the whole thing, right? He's taken out Max Holloway 3 times. Not taken out, but he's defeated, fought the best guys in the featherweight division, and has been able to pretty much win each of those fights. I would say outside of maybe Max Holloway fairly dominantly. And he's lost against Islam Makhachev, but even in that first fight, made it very competitive, right? Outstruck him with the significant strikes, ended up getting a knockdown, and then defending a lot of those takedowns. So he's a tough guy. Volkanovski is one of these guys where I think maybe people are kind of you get that thing, oh, he's lost against blah, blah, but there's levels to this stuff, right? And I'm not saying Ilia Topuria is not on another level. I think he has the ability to go out here and hurt Volkanovski and put him away 100%. But I think if this fight, if Volkanovski is able to endure, right? And you got to think he's fighting a guy who more so his size. I think Islam Makhachev, very big dude compared to him. Not that the reach was different, but just a bigger dude, right? Bigger frame and all that. And you're not taking Makhachev on short notice and all that. I mean, I don't think that's a wise thing, but he's always down to do it, right? So whatever you think about that loss, it is what it is. But take that one away, and he had a very competitive fight against the current lightweight champion, and then destroyed another guy in his division who had a very, Rodriguez had a very competitive fight against Holloway, man. He lost it, but still. So for Volkanovski to go in here and just run through these guys in his division, I mean, we can't just overlook that and count it out. Topuria, very good hands, right? I think in this one, he might even try to go for some takedowns. He might, I think he'll have the ability to defend takedowns, but it'd be interesting to see if Topuria actually tries to go in for his own takedowns and see what he can do there. Great boxing in his last fight. We saw it against Josh Emmett. I mean, just great range, just good getting out of the way, throwing together slick combinations, good speed, just judging the distance all well. Just great boxing for him in that one. And Josh Emmett, loading up on a lot of those shots, just wasn't able to put anything together. For Topuria, great uppercuts. Like I said, great speed, great defense. I think he has good patience. We saw that against Emmett as well. He's not overextending. He's getting in. He's landing his shots and he's getting out. And I think that's like the interesting thing here is Topuria, right? I think his striking good. I think his defense wrestling is good. I think his wrestling is good. So he's fighting a guy like Volkanovski, right? Volkanovski is a well-rounded fighter, and I think Ilia Topuria is a well-rounded fighter. So when you get 2 guys that are gonna go at it like that, it makes for a great matchup, and that's why I'm excited for this fight. And he's undefeated as well. Now, it's a matter to me of just how Topuria handles the fight. So if he goes out here guns blazing, I'm going to rip this dude's head off, starts trying to piece him up, he might get him out of there. But if he doesn't, and Volkanovski's able to adjust his game, and it seems like he's taking it seriously. Although during the weigh-in, I will say he did look like he was dying. I mean, he looks super sucked. So we'll see. Maybe he doesn't really want to be in the featherweight division. He wants to go up so he doesn't have to cut the weight or whatever. But Topuria is motivated, so you got to go out there and you really got to get in his face. And if Volkanovski for any moment, he seems slow or he seems sluggish, you're gonna have Ilia Topuria just start lighting him up, and I think he would probably be able to get a finish in there, uh, if not make it a bore. But I think overall for the course of 5 rounds, Volkanovski, if he can hang in there, I think he could show him like, hey, like I've done this before, right? I can grind you out. Because Volkanovski has great offensive, defensive wrestling, great cardio. He has good striking, good distance control. He'll get in and out. Like even against Max Holloway, I think it's very impressive how like being at a size disadvantage, but still being able to touch him up, right? 199 significant strikes to Max Holloway's 127 in their last fight. So just great striking as well. I mean, Volkanovski is definitely going to be competitive in this fight. He does have moments where I feel like maybe they're gonna call for a head kick, right? So maybe he has some weaknesses in the head kicking defensively. So we'll have to see if Topuria is able to maybe take advantage of that a little bit. But I would like to see Volkanovski strike with him, but also wrestle, and just you got two guys clashing right in there. And Volkanovski's gonna have to keep this one at a distance. I mean, getting pieced up by Topuria in the boxing, like real close, is just probably not gonna be a good look for him. And yeah, I mean, Topuria, at the end of the day, I think this could be Volkanovski's toughest challenge, just because of how motivated Topuria is, and um, just his ability to like have that other thing. Whereas like Holloway has really good striking, and he was able to beat him. But now you're fighting a guy who has really good boxing, and he has the ability to possibly take you down or not be taken down. Like Makachev too, right? It was like, well, he has really good wrestling, right? So that was the biggest thing. But then obviously he was able to head kick him in the second fight. So, but Topuria is overall a really good dude. So we'll see how this one plays out, man. I think early on Topuria is dangerous. 5 round fight, Volkanovski will be able to show him, hey, if you look at that 5th round for Topuria in the last one against Josh Emmett, I think that was Josh Emmett's best round, right? So you're not gonna get slow. You're not gonna get Volkanovski just like slowing down, right? He's gonna just keep going and stay in your face and all that. So we'll see. I think over like the experience of Volkanovski will take over. His ability to start, if Topuria slows down, he's gonna start lighting him up. He might even get his own takedown. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to count off Volkanovski yet. Uh, so if he does get clipped here and put away, I could see them rematching if it's something like that. But if it's like one of these Garbrandt versus um Dominic Cruz kind of fights, I don't see them doing a rematch. Like if Topuria just kills him, lights him up for 5 rounds, it's not gonna be. But yeah, for now, I'm gonna go Alexander Volkanovski to defeat Ilia Topuria by decision. So that'll do it, guys, for my UFC 298 main card predictions for the upcoming event taking place this Saturday, February 17, 2024. Tomorrow, unfortunately, just a lot going on. So I got the video out the night before, but is what it is. Hope you guys enjoy the pay-per-view. Hope you guys enjoy the fights. Hit the comment button. Let me know who you think is going to win. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button for more content. And I'll see you guys in the next video.